That concludes today's pregame show.
We welcome you into Moomaw Stadium on the campus of Hedgesville High School. It is the final night of the regular season for high school football around the Eastern Panhandle and the Mountain State of West Virginia. The only game in the Eastern Panhandle, however, tonight, a couple of games last night that rounded out the Panhandle, and Martinsburg having a bye this week. So it's Hedgesville hosting the Spring Mills Cardinal in the season finale, at least the regular season finale. I am Matt Crawford along with the coach, Mike Jacobs, our cameraman, Chip Rittenhouse. And Mike, a nice and soggy conditions tonight for this matchup.
I was just telling Chip, I believe we could have trout down here in front of the bleachers. There's a standing puddle of water that must be 6 inches deep right in front of the bleachers. The bleacherites, of course, umbrellaed up pretty well and also with the slickers on. But, man, this is just not football weather.
Oh, no, I disagree with you, Coach. This is perfect football weather, which is the reason a couple of the teams in the Panhandle moved their games till last night, which was Jefferson hosting Washington. Jefferson got the win in that. We'll talk more about that in our check of the area schedule coming up here in a minute. Also, Musselman hosted Preston last night. They moved the game. Again, because of the rain, they decided to keep this game where it was at, and I love it. I think this is true football weather and on a grass field nonetheless.
Let me explain some things to you that are listening right now. Both myself and my partner here were offensive linemen, and we took a lot of serious hits in the head, and I think that's the thing that's affecting us. Yes, we do love playing it, but it's not the kind of game where, you're out there trying to win a game to get yourself in the playoff for one team and maintain and move yourself up for the other team, and it's going to be a rough situation.
Well, you mentioned that. The playoffs starting next week around the Mountain State, and this is turning into a little bit of a playoff game. And for Spring Mills, this is really their second straight playoff game. Really some code red games for them as they needed to win out to hopefully get to 5-5. They upset North Hagerstown. You can't look at that game as anything other than an upset. So they are right now at that number 18 spot in the WVSS-AC playoff rankings. They need to pass Hurricane and George Washington if they have any chance of getting in the playoffs. And right now it's Hedgesville in that number 9 spot, and the top 8 will host in the playoffs. So while Hedgesville has secured themselves a playoff spot, they have not quite secured themselves a home playoff game, which they had last year for the first time in a very long time.
And if you haven't seen these two teams play, there are some differences and there are some similarities. Number one, both of them will be throwing it to 4 receivers. It's a really exciting type of a game, but of course with the rain coming down in sheets and waves, it may not really become that kind of situation. Where do you go then? Hey, Hedgesville is huge on the offensive and defensive line. If they get behind those horses and run the ball, it could be a running game, and with this kind of a field, I look for it to become that.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the pregame with our keys to the game, what you think are going to be the keys for both these teams in these sloppy conditions. But again, as we mentioned, fighting for a playoff spot. Hedgesville, Spring Mills fighting for a playoff spot, comes in at 4-5. They need this game. Unlike last year where 2 4-6 teams made the playoffs, that's not happening in AAA this year, which is good for the sport, I think. But they need to be 5-5, and 5-5 might not even get them in the playoffs this season. Again, Spring Mills 4-5 coming into tonight's matchup. The Hedgesville Eagles 6-3, so they're looking for yet another pretty successful season this year.
Yeah, we've got a team, like you say, the 4-5 team we're talking about here at Spring Mills is 18th, and they're hoping to bounce down to 16th where they're officially in the show. Whereas if you go the other side of the ball, Hedgesville is sitting nice and neat at the 9 spot, hoping to get to 8 so they can have a couple of, or at least one home game.
And how crazy is it what a year makes? Again, 2 4-6 teams make the playoffs last year. This year you're going to have a couple 5-5 teams probably not even getting in the playoffs.
That's the thing. It's just that much better.
And again, it should be very interesting. We'll talk about this a little bit more in the pregame, but these are two teams that have no problem airing the ball out at all. So it's going to be very interesting to see which athletes are going to be able to succeed the most tonight.
You know, surprisingly, you talk about both teams that aren't afraid to air it out. I watched both teams warm up, and the quarterbacks are throwing the ball pretty well, given the conditions we've got. When the ball gets wet in these conditions, it gets like a soapy consistency, and it's very hard to hold. So what you end up doing is palming the ball and seeing what you can get. But I've seen some good distance on the ball.
All right, we will break down this matchup a little bit more coming up in a little while. But next, we're going to take a look at what else went on last night around the Mountain State with our check of the area schedule. You're listening to the W. Harley Miller Systems pregame show, brought to you by W. Harley Miller Systems, providing custom integration services for home and office automation, home theater, networking, audio, video distribution, and more. For their services, phone 304-350-1931, I should say. Again, we're going to take a check of the area schedule and last night's game coming up next. This is West Virginia High School football on Talk Radio, WRNR, and TV10.
I just turned you guys up all the way to there. Chip's got you registering in the yellow coming through the camera, but they're saying the TV10 line back in the studio, he can't get any volume out of.
Is the audio thing pushed?
What's that?
Is the audio pushed in?
Audio pushed in.
Is the audio on the camera, on the Ustream? Is the audio clicked on?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a rain-soaking Newmont field.
Is the green button
tonight between Spring Mills and Hedgesville. We have our senior night scheduled for this evening. We're thankful for all our athletes, band members, cheerleaders, and everyone that came out to support these folks this evening. We're going to start with our senior night football players.
If he's not
First,
getting
Gage Abrams.
audio, I guarantee you that audio isn't pushed
mother
on.
April and his grandmother Patricia. This is his 4th year as a member of the football team. Gage's future plans are to attend and finish college and further his education after high school. Afterwards, his plans are to join the Army to become an Army Ranger. He would like to thank God for blessing him with the athletic ability, the entire coaching staff for believing in me and pushing me to be a better football player, and most importantly, a better man. And last, I would like to thank his mom and grandparents for giving me every opportunity to better myself. Gage Abrams. Jesse Kane is being escorted tonight by his mother and father, Annette and Scott Kane. Jesse is a 4-year member of the football team. Jesse's future plans are to play college football and major in sports broadcasting. He would like to thank God.
I guarantee you have to click the audio on if it's not on. I guarantee you he sees the VU meter, but there's nothing. It's got to be green, not blue. I've told that to him a thousand times.
For always believing in him and supporting his dreams. Mr. Jesse Kane. Hunter Coe is being escorted tonight by his parents, Kelly and C.W. Coe. This is his 4th year as a member of the football team. Hunter's future plans are to attend college and study mechanical engineering. He would like to thank his family, teammates, and coaches for supporting him throughout high school.
We'll start tapering things off a little bit as far as practice goes, and try to, especially next week when the time changes, we'll try to ramp up things a little early. But it is important to stay healthy this time of year because it's going to come down to, whoever's got their best players on the field at the end.
This marks the 21st consecutive playoff appearance for Martinsburg. There's your check of the area schedule brought to you by Kelly Allstate Insurance at 724 Lakeview Drive near the intersection of Rockcliffe Drive in Martinsburg. Phone 304-263-4596. We'll be back to talk with Hedgesville head coach Joey Urish next on our pregame show. This is West Virginia High School football on Talk Radio, WRNR, and TV10.
Hey, Amy, did you know the Honda Dream Deal sales event is literally happening right now? There's literally great deals on certified pre-owned Hondas.
Literally? I don't trust that word anymore ever since my coworker Jerry told me he could literally eat 1,000 burritos.
That's literally impossible, but there is literally a Honda Dream Deal sales event. And Honda is KBB.com's 2018 best value brand. Seriously.
Now's the time to get a great deal on a certified pre-owned Honda at your local Honda dealer.
Miller Honda, south of Winchester, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. www.mymillerhonda.com.
Based on 2018 brand image awards from Kelley Blue Book. Visit kbb.com for information.
If you're a hard-working man, the best selection and value that you possibly can.
Hardworking folks know Appalachian Heating and Air Conditioning is the best way to get the service you need if you have a heating or cooling problem. They'll beat any written price. Offer 24-hour service with free estimates and affordable financing. 24 hours a day, call Appalachian Heating and Air Conditioning, where quality meets comfort at 304-260-5644.
We welcome you back into the W. Harley Miller Systems pregame show. It's time to talk to our coaches, and we'll start with the home coach, Hedgesville Eagle head coach Joey Urish. We got our conversation started with Coach Urish about his bye week last week and looking ahead to Spring Mills.
We started looking at Spring Mills last Sunday, but thank God we had a bye week last week. We had 20 guys out on Tuesday and Wednesday with strep throat and a stomach virus, so that happened at the right time. And we still got a couple guys that have missed yesterday and are going to miss it today, so it's been lingering. And I'm just glad we had that bye week at this late of the season with those guys getting sick.
Even with those guys healing up, is there still a concern, getting out on the field and the energy that they'll expend, that they'll be able to have that energy?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one good thing with us. I mean, we really only practiced 2 days last week because we wanted to just give them time to recuperate, get a doctor and, some medicine and do what they're supposed to do. So we watched a lot of film and, just had chalk talk and stuff, and that benefited us just as well as any practice would have been because they wouldn't have been able to give us full effort. So hopefully, those guys are able to come back out today, and have a good practice and get prepared for the game on Friday.
When you look at Friday night, apparently there's going to be some bad weather. How do you prepare for that when your practices are, number one, either looking at film or in good conditions?
Well, the good thing for everybody in this area is I don't think it's stopped raining in 6 months. So we're used to playing in the rain, and we're used to playing in wet conditions. And the only thing that concerns me, man, is our field and the implications that we could have for playoffs if we ended up having a home game. So outside of that, I think our guys are going to be fine. They're excited to play in the rain like always. I'm not sure they're going to be too excited to play in the cold, but they're going to make adjustments, and we should be fine.
Talk to us a little bit about the rivalry that you and Spring Mills are developing. I know this is just the sixth year of the school, but many students that would have been at Hedgesville now at Spring Mills, and so that natural rivalry is there.
Yeah, I think anytime you split a school, there's going to be that natural rivalry to begin with. And with Coach Munson, just to being a Hedgesville guy, it was kind of easier. And now that Chad's there and throwing the ball over the place kind of like we do, it's kind of made it even more interesting. And now it's kind of like looking in the mirror, on the offensive side of the ball and what they're going to be able to do against what we're trying to do. And, he does a good job of trying to get his athletes the ball. And, the kids are going to trash talk to each other. They do it in every sport, and it kind of makes for an exciting atmosphere. The principal over there with an assistant principal here, so he's adding a little flavor to it, and it should be a great atmosphere for everybody around here.
With Spring Mills getting the win last Friday, this game has got some severe playoff implications for you guys fighting for a home playoff game, for them just fighting for a playoff spot. How much energy does that bring to this game?
I think it adds a little more to it. Coach Walker said he came last year to our game just because of the implications that it had, and I think it's got a very similar feel to it this year. And Chad knows that he has to win to get to the playoffs, and our guys know that we have to win to try to solidify our spot at that home spot. So, that's going to add to it. It's our senior night. We're decorating the field up nice for them, and, with everybody in the community already talking about the game on Friday, and I'm sure that they're talking about it over there as well. It should be a very exciting atmosphere for everybody that's there.
So as you mentioned earlier, with two teams that are doing some similar things, what do you see as the key in this one? Does it just come down to who executes?
Ball control, turnovers, and penalties, man. Those three things have, killed us all year, and they've killed Spring Mills all year. So we got to be able to not turn the ball over. We got to be able to control the clock, and we can't shoot ourselves in the foot when we're just sustaining drives or, on the defensive side of the ball. And, of course, I want our guys to be aggressive and don't let up on that. But they've done a better job the last 2 weeks of trying to hone that aggression in, and hopefully they can continue that on Friday.
That was Hedgesville Eagle head coach Joey Urish. Our conversation with Coach Urish is brought to you by Parsons Ford at 1400 Shepherdstown Road in Martinsburg. In the market for a new or used vehicle, check out their great selection online at parsonsfordofmartinsburg.com. We became number one by making you number one first. Parsons. We'll be back to talk with Spring Mills head coach Chad Williams next on our pregame show. This is West Virginia High School football on Talk Radio, WRNR and TV10.
With 4 new car dealerships and 4 used car dealerships in 3 states, Parsons is the largest used car and fastest growing new car dealer in the tri-state area. Take Parsons Ford with huge savings on hundreds of new Fords, financing from 0%, Parsons' goal of financing for all, and Parsons' famous above-market trade-in allowances that help make Parsons #1 for used cars, too. See why so many won't buy anywhere but Parsons Ford in Martinsburg. We became #1 by making you #1 first. Parsons.
Does your daughter have a bigger diamond than your wife? Hi, I'm Lori from Bechtel Jewelers. We see it all the time. Daughters with bigger diamonds than their moms. So, dear husbands, let's fix that problem. Dave and I leave for Antwerp, the diamond capital of the world, on October 21st, where we find the best and bigger diamond that will make mom very happy, which means you are one happy husband. Stop by Bechtel Jewelers, Route 11 South Inwood, and we'll talk about how a diamond from Antwerp will take care of that little problem.
We welcome you back into the W. Harley Miller Systems pregame show. It's time to check in with visiting coach Chad Williams. Coach Williams is in his first year at the helm for the Spring Mills Cardinals. They're coming in after a big 32-9 win against North Hagerstown last week. That's where we got our conversation started.
I thought we showed probably more resiliency than we have at any point this year. We got down early. I think they scored the first time they had the ball, and then we turned it right over deep in our own territory. And, rather than just allowing them to score again, we buckled down. I believe held them without a first down there and forced them to kick a field goal. And even then down 9-0 early, then we kind of kicked it into gear. Defense played excellent the rest of the way, helped them to under 100 total yards, which is always a good thing. And, offensively, we got things going a little bit. Obviously, Evan, having had a week of practice, being the full-time starting quarterback, and I think helped a lot. He's gotten some reps here or there throughout the year, but, now that he's actually practicing as the guy, he was able to do a little bit more. We ran the football very well. I was pretty excited all the way around it in what we did, but, you also got to, keep in mind that was one that we needed, and we knew that we needed it. So I think we, took care of business and did about what we expected.
How much more gratifying is it knowing that the team came out and performed like that in a must-win game?
I think we saw a lot of character out of our team, I think especially after we got down early. There was no finger-pointing, anything like that. We got down early, we sucked it up and said, all right, it's time to play ball. We have to win this game. And, rather than getting down on themselves when that situation occurred, they battled and, showed the kind of performance you need to in a must-win game.
Last week when we talked to you, it was not a good conversation about your defense. What was the difference this week in how your defense came out and responded?
I think nobody likes hearing about it all week. They heard all week about, giving up 59 points, giving up 400 yards on the ground. They didn't want that to happen again this week, and, and it was definitely a night and day difference.
Another must-win game for you on Friday night against the Hedgesville Eagles. What do you see in Hedgesville?
Yeah, Hedgesville is very athletic. They've got some playmakers, and it's clear what they're doing. They're very good about moving those guys around and figuring out ways to get their playmakers the ball in space. They play surprisingly good defense. I think you don't hear a lot of chatter about their defense, but you look at their results, say for the Martinsburg game, and they've been excellent on defense this year. It's just and it's going to probably make it interesting this week, being that we're going to be playing more than likely in the rain and on grass as two teams that both like to throw the ball around a good bit.
That was Spring Mills head coach Chad Williams. His conversation brought to you by Parsons Ford at 1400 Shepherdstown Road in Martinsburg. In the market for a new or used vehicle, check out their great selection online at parsonsfordofmartinsburg.com. We became #1 by making you #1 first. Parsons. We'll be back with more of our pregame show next. This is West Virginia High School football on Talk Radio, WRNR, and TV10.
Floodwaters can spread E. coli bacteria. Here's Bill Kearns from the Berkeley County Health Department about what to do if your well is tested positive.
If it's just a one-time contamination, you can superchlorinate your well, which we have instructions at the health department. They could call and talk to us. You're providing an excessive amount of bleach down the well. Then you do a runoff to get that out of the system, to get the bleach through your lines, get any contamination out of there. You do a runoff of so long, and then you can have it tested again.
The Berkeley County Health Department, 122 Waverly Court in Martinsburg. Call 304-263-5131.
Hi, I'm Philip McCoy. Ameriprise Financial has been serving and supporting this community for decades. We believe that every dream is personal and needs a personal plan. That's why you can count on the Mirius Group, a private wealth advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial Services, to understand your unique needs and goals. Whether you want to make the most of the money you have, save for a comfortable retirement, or plan to leave a legacy, the Mirius Group can help you realize your dreams of today and tomorrow. Call the Mirius Group at 304-263-4343. Our office is located at 1270 Winchester Avenue, Martinsburg, West Virginia.
Ameriprise Financial Services Incorporated, member FINRA and SIPC.
And we welcome you back into Moomaw Stadium on the campus of Hedgesville High School. Matt Crawford along with the coach, Mike Jacobs, Chip Rittenhouse, our TV10 cameraman. A wet night here for high school football as we end the regular season around the Eastern Panhandle and the Mountain State. Senior night festivities, always a fun night for not only the players, but they're now introducing all those senior band members, and I'm guessing pretty soon also getting to those cheerleading members. Mike, a fun time when you're a player. I know the conditions aren't the best, but especially in this environment of a game, and you get to get recognized for a senior night. And for one special player tonight, it's his 18th birthday. It's big lineman Anthony Fortune, his 18th birthday tonight. So a lot of things going on tonight, some more than others.
Oh, yeah. Like I said before, I agree with you. I played in the line, and these kind of games are a lot of fun to play in. But when you get into a skill position, it's not much fun.
Yeah, the skill positions are going to be tested tonight. And these are two teams that have very talented skill positions at that. Again, all right, let's look at that now. It's time to go to our keys to the game. Brought to you by Luttrell LC. Let Chris Luttrell hand you the keys to your new home. For all your real estate legal needs, call Luttrell LC at 304-267-3050. All right, Mike, let's start with the visiting Spring Mills Cardinals. Let's look at them offensively, because that is where they're going to have the most issues tonight doing what they want to do.
Well, the weather is not going to play their best situation because they like to throw the ball. However, I got to say this, both teams want to throw it. Hedgesville comes out with a smaller group in terms of the line. At the same time, better skilled athletic people in the wideout and specialty positions. They have two quarterbacks that are battling right now to see who's going to start. And it looks to me like the smaller one, 145 pounds, is throwing the ball better than the one that's a little bit bigger. So it remains to be seen which one of those quarterbacks we're going to see, buddy.
Yeah, right now it's Keon Padmore Johnson, who was the starter up until a few weeks ago, had an injury in a game a few weeks back, and it was Evan Hurt that came in there and has had a couple of really successful weeks throwing the football, really upwards of 400, 500 yards of offense in a couple of those games. So he's playing extremely good football right now, so he may get the start tonight, but we saw both of those guys getting snaps in before the game and trying to test out their arms in nights like this, and I'm a hunter, and a couple of those look like some wounded ducks.
Yes, they did, buddy, and I'll tell you, some weren't even close to the receivers.
All right, let's go to that defensive side of the football for Spring Mills. What are they going to need to do to stop this explosive Hedgesville Eagle offense?
Well, the interesting thing is that both teams like to stunt. In this situation, we've got a team that goes out here and lines up in a 4-type front, either in a 4-2 or in a 4-4, and they're going to bring it from everywhere. So that's one of the situations. They've got to have a defense that is effective to stunt to be another key for the game.
All right, let's go to the home Hedgesville Eagles. Offensively, about as explosive as you can get. I think really, other than Martinsburg, they're the most explosive team in the Panhandle. The record, you might think that Musselman would be explosive, but they're a different kind of football team. A very explosive, very athletic Hedgesville offense.
Yes, athletic, and at the same time, huge across the line, partner. I think we have a situation here where we've got the ball in the air and the kids making good catches on it, and they're heading on down that goal line.
All right, what are they going to need to do on the defensive side of the football to stop this Spring Mills Cardinals team that's not only a good football team, but they're playing in a must-win situation?
It appears to me like what they practice is what they're going to do, and that is stunt quite a bit. By throwing people at you and coming at different angles and also having size, it could go their way if they don't get picked up.
There are your keys to the game, brought to you by Chris Luttrell at Luttrell LC. Locally owned, they know the business and are part of the community. You can win every time when it comes to your real estate legal needs. Just call Luttrell LC at 304-267-3050. All right, we're going to take a 2-minute break. When we come back, we'll have the starting lineups and kickoff right around the corner. This is West Virginia High School football on Talk Radio, WRNR, and TV10.
You got the starters? I hope so. Good man.
And finally, his parents for always supporting him and encouraging him. Mr. Nicholas Morrell. Give it up for our cross-country team.
Jeez, cross-country. Unreal.
Finally this evening, we have 2 members of the golf team, starting with Mr. Joseph Arnott, who is being escorted tonight by his mother and father, Jody and Mike. This is his 3rd year as a member of the golf team. Jody's future plans are to play collegiate golf at Shepherd University and to major in business. He would like to thank his teachers, coaches, and staff at HHS for a positive place to learn, his family for always being his #1 support system, especially his brother Brian for motivating and mentoring him throughout high school. Also, his boys on the varsity squad for being his brothers these past 3 years. Mr. Joey Arnott. Mr. Camden Rebuck is being escorted tonight by his mother and father, Chris and Christy Rebuck. This is his 2nd year as a member of the golf team at Hedgesville High School. Camden's future plans are to attend WVU's College of Business and Economics, to dual major in finance and accounting, to become a certified financial planner. He would like to thank all his coaches, including Coach Rove, Coach Peters, and Larry, family and friends for all the love and support they have shown him. Lastly, Cam would like to thank God for what he has graced in his life with so many opportunities. Mr. Camden Rebuck. Let's give it up for the senior members of the golf team and all of our other senior night participants here this evening for weathering through the never-ending storm.
Hey, they're going to start right on time, though.
And we welcome you back into the W. Harley Miller Systems pregame show. W. Harley Miller Systems providing custom integration services to eliminate the need for a table full of remotes or dozens of apps on your cell phone. For more, call 304-350-1931 or visit WHMSystems.com. We're going to pause for the Marching Band of Hedgesville for our national anthem. Great job by that Hedgesville Eagle marching band. Great rendition of the greatest song ever wrote, our national anthem. All right, it's time to take a look at those starting lineups. Starting lineups are a service of DNN Auto Specialists. If your vehicle is not starting properly, then start at DNN Auto to get it fixed right the first time. Family owned and operated since 1974. Call 304-267-4078. All right, we have lineups for one team, and that is the home Hedgesville Eagles. So we'll take a look at how they are going to start this game off on offense and defense. Offensively, we're going to start with those guys that are going to have a lot of fun tonight in the trenches, the offensive linemen. Left tackle, Michael Turner, the junior, goes 6'3", 280. Left guard is the birthday boy, Anthony Fortune. He's a senior at 6'4", 360. Big boy there at left guard. Ethan Von Glon at center, the junior, 6'2", 265. Right guard is Nathaniel Hughes. He's also a senior at 6'2", just over 300 pounds at 305. And right tackle, number 64, E.J. Heath, also celebrating his senior night tonight, 6'2", 280. At quarterback, maybe Owie Ash, but it would not surprise me if we saw Devin Heath. We've seen him a couple of the last weeks, so it would not surprise me at all if he was under center. But what we have is Owie Ash, the sophomore. At wide receiver, it's Niger Smith, the senior. He goes 6 foot tall, 185 pounds. Hunter Coe in that slot, he's a senior at 6 feet 4 inches. Malachi Brown, another speedster on the outside. He's a junior at 6 foot. Again, Devin Heath Jr. right now is supposedly going to start in that receiver spot, but would not surprise me if he is a quarterback. And running back is Keenan Smoot. So that is your offense for the Hedgesville Eagles. Defensively, you're going to see a lot of the same names on that line. You're going to have at tackle Nathaniel Hughes. At one end, it's Michael Turner. At the other end, it's E.J. Heath. That linebacking core. The outside, it's Gage Albrecht. Keenan Smoot in the middle, it's Jesse Kane and Devin Heath. And then let's go to the secondary. The two safeties, Malachi Brown and Niger Smith, they're going to be wreaking havoc on any balls in the air tonight and covering those wide receivers up tight. The cornerbacks, you have Owie Ash and Aaron Harmison.
I'd like to emphasize something. As we're going through those linemen both sides of the ball, they are huge, and that's going to be a determining factor in this kind of a field condition.
Very cool seeing going on in front of us with it being senior night tonight instead of just the regular 4 captains who, if you're watching on TV10, you see in the very front. Also, all the seniors going about halfway between the sideline, our near side, and those hash marks right at about the number. So, in a way, all the seniors being involved in the ceremonies tonight with the coin flip. The coin flip going on right now. And again, on that Spring Mill side of the football, we don't have starters, but what we do have is a quarterback question. Keon Padmore Johnson had been the starting quarterback. Very, very small quarterback and a guy that's going to use his feet a lot. If you watch the game right here against Martinsburg earlier in the season, a guy that's going to use his feet a lot. But you could also see Evan Hurt. He has played the last couple weeks for the Spring Mills Cardinals at quarterback after an injury to Keon Padmore Johnson earlier in the season. Well, both these teams coming in with a lot to play for. The Hedgesville Eagles coming in hoping to host a playoff game for the second time in just as many years, and that followed a big drought in the postseason. And while you have Spring Mills looking to get in the playoffs at all, it looks like Spring Mills has won the toss, Hedgesville has won the toss. They elect to defer, so it looks like Spring Mills will receive the ball to start this game and see what their offense can do as we are just about getting underway for this final Friday night of the regular season for the 2018 high school football season. Crazy to think this season, or at least this regular season, is coming to a close already, Mike.
We're sitting here partnered with this monitor in front of us, and the window's just plastered with water. It's almost impossible to look out the windows. So I'm glad we do have this thing on the TV and have a little help with the monitor.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are taking advantage of the TV aspect we're bringing them tonight, because usually I think in good conditions there would be an awful lot of people cramming into Moomaw Stadium tonight, but apparently they would rather sit at home and watch this or listen to it right on their radios, as it is about, I don't know, what would you say, Coach, about a quarter full on the home side, and barely even that on the away side for Spring Mills. And again, both teams, local, or at least the visitors, are local as well.
And this game was scheduled to play on Friday. They tried to move it to Thursday in hopes of getting a good crowd in such an important game, but as it turned out, they moved it back to Friday.
And right now, again, some rain in the area. And when I say some rain, boy, is it really coming down right now. But 57 degrees, it looks like it's going to be your opening kick temperature here as they honor a moment of silence. I'm not sure. I didn't quite get what the moment of silence is for. Both teams in the stadium awfully somber for a moment of silence here at Moomaw Stadium. But if you heard the PA announcer over top of me right there, it is time for football on a pouring down rain Friday night here in the Eastern Panhandle. And a grass field here at Moomaw Stadium. So it should be interesting to see how this field takes some of these rainy conditions and the cleats. Because, again, if Hedgesville wins, they have an opportunity to possibly host a game here next week. And if the WVSSAC doesn't think they can get it done at this field, they may have to relocate. Finnegan Hall on to kick it off for the Hedgesville Eagles. Boy, has he been sensational this year. 38 touchbacks for Finnegan Hall. He is in his senior season. Boy, has he been good this year.
Well, there's no wind blowing to help him, so we'll have to wait and see if he can get one through the rain out there. 3
men back now for the Spring Mills Cardinals. Looks like Jeremiah Hunter and Evan Hurt are 2. Can't quite get the number of the guy on the far side with all the rain and where we are at on the field right now. Looks like number 12, that is Rowan Parchment, is going to be on that far side. So 3 return men, a big line right up there at the midfield stripe, and 3 in that in-between area of the field. Again, kickoff coming here in just moments as Hedgesville has a little huddle before their kickoff, before they all spread out wide, and that is just what they do now as Finnegan Hall gets ready to hopefully kick touchback number 39 on the season. Really quite impressive for a high school kid to have 38 touchbacks going into the final week of the season. It'll be a little bit of a squib kick up the middle, and it'll be taken right up the middle at the 15-yard line, up to the 20, into the 25. Some blockers in front. Down, ball is loose, and it's recovered by Gage Albrecht of the Hedgesville Eagles. That'll be Hedgesville Eagle ball, and it looked like Jeremiah Hunter was returning that ball for the Spring Mills Cardinals, and he was waiting, looking for a hole, and I couldn't see who quite popped it out, but that ball hit the deck, and Gage Albrecht was right there to get it, and that is a big break early for the Hedgesville Eagles.
Well, obviously the plan was to get that ball good and wet. That squib kick did it, and once it got wet, the ball carrier just could not get the handle on it. Started slipping around, and next thing you know, a pop, the ball came loose.
And it looks like what we see right now, looks like it's going to be Owie Ash at quarterback, the sophomore for Hedgesville.
I liked him a lot better.
He has split time, especially towards the later part of this season, with Devin Heath. So at least right now it is Owie Ash in at quarterback. Still looking for the play from the sideline from head coach Joe Urish, who's in his 3rd season, an 18-13 record coming into tonight's game. Looks like a offset I formation, tight formation. Not used to seeing that for Hedgesville. Keenan, or looks like it's going to be Malachi Brown in the backfield. And there was a fumble on that play, and Owie Ash picks it up, and that ball's loose. It's picked up by the Spring Mills Cardinals. They're going up the field. Looks like number 7, that is Chase Henderson. He finally is brought down by Malachi Brown, but Owie Ash up under center, very uncharacteristic for this Hedgesville team to be up under center, and with these wet conditions, I'm not sure if that center to quarterback exchange is where it should be, and a great job by Henderson to pick that ball up, and they are now deep in Hedgesville territory at the 20-yard line. 2 turnovers very quick in this ball game.
There's no way that ball could not be half muddy because he had his weight on it, and when he snapped it, there was just no way that he could put any grip on it.
All right, so Spring Mills will now set up at the, looks like, 22-yard line. They have 2 receivers out to the far side, 2 to the near side, quarterback back in the shotgun formation. There's the give up the middle. Actually, it's a read option type play, and it looks like Keon Padmore Johnson is your starting quarterback right now, and he gets a couple of yards up to the 20. Looks like it's going to bring up about a 2nd and 8.
Keon looked a lot better throwing the ball, and, of course, he was the starter most of the year.
Second down.
Again, same formation, 2 receivers to the far side, 2 to the near side. Keon Padmore Johnson drops back to pass. He's going to fire it up into the end zone and just overthrows his receiver on the outside. Looks like Christian Henderson was the intended receiver there, but I don't know if that slipped. It looked like Henderson stumbled a little bit coming out of his break there.
Exactly where I was going. He came down about 15. As he made the cut, he stumbled, and the ball was delivered, looked like on time, but it just wasn't anybody there to catch it.
So 3rd and a long 7 coming up, 11-14 left in this opening quarter. 2 turnovers already, including on the opening kickoff. 3 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. Padmore Johnson in the shotgun formation, 1 running back. To his left, looks like number 23,
and a flag.
Caleb Tenney, and it looks like we are going to have a flag. False start, and that makes a 3rd and in between turn into a 3rd and long, and not the way you want to start, at least penalty-wise, for the Spring Mills Cardinals.
Well, it's a sloppy game, both the way the kids are playing in and the field conditions don't help.
So it gives a an Eagle defense a little bit more breathing room here. They can change up what they're going to do. And also, you got to wonder how these intermediate passes are going to work in these conditions. So
25 yards to go. Excuse me, Matt.
2 receivers to the far side, 2 to the near side as Padmore Johnson drops back pass. He's going deep down the middle, and that ball's almost intercepted. Oh, what a great defensive play. It looked like Niger Smith coming up to get that interception, but the other corner on that play, I think it was Devin Heath there. Maybe it might have been Hunter Coe on that far side, but he went up for the ball at the same time and ended up doing what they call a tabletop almost, punching that ball out. So a very fortunate break there for Spring Mills, as it looks like they are going to keep their offense on the field, really in an awkward spot in the field to do anything.
Very conservative cover 3 men deep. That way they get a little bit of help if the ball gets up there.
Padmore Johnson in the shotgun formation. 2 receivers to the far side, 2 to the near side. 4th down and 12 coming up. Padmore Johnson rolls out to his right. He's got a little bit of room, but isn't going to get very far, down to almost the original line of scrimmage, as a good job by Keenan Smoot coming up to make that tackle in the open field. And a turnover on downs, as Hedgesville's offense will come back onto the field, hoping to do a little better than they did on their first drive.
Padmore Johnson only goes 140 pounds, and in these conditions, it proved to be a problem because he had a little slippage right there at the end.
Looking to see if it is still Owe Ash going to be quarterback on this drive, as some personnel
looks like it
questions out here, and it looks like it looks like a jumbo formation almost, as we have what looks like Anthony Fortune and a couple of other linemen lining up in the middle. Drop back to pass. That is Malachi Brown off to the right side. He cuts back up towards the middle and get wrapped up by a couple of those big linemen for Spring Mills. A gain of maybe 1-2, possibly a long 2 and 3 on that play. So a little bit of wildcat, a little bit of trickery early in this game.
Well, senior Logan Blakeman lowered the boom on him. He goes 5'10", but 268.
Second down and a gain of 4 on that play, actually. Got a little bit more than I was expecting. 2nd and 6 now, as it is, again, another tight formation. Yes. And it looks like they're going to run a little bit more of that wildcat, as a runner is deep. It looks like, again, Niger Smith on that carry. He gets up the middle. He gets almost to the 30-yard line, about up to that 29-yard line. It was Niger Smith on that carry. So 3rd down and short now. They are keeping those guys bunched up and just want to use those blockers.
Taking advantage of the size of those blockers against a little bit smaller Spring Mills line.
Again, they're going to stay in that formation. It looks like Malachi Brown will come out and receive this one deep. He is going to draw straight up the middle. Leaps and hurdles, and I'm not sure he got it. That was a leap by Malachi Brown up and over.
He was short, I believe, also. He got up on the lineman's shoulders. He leaped so high and then tried to get back down again.
So a 4th and 1 coming up now. They have it listed as a 4th and 2 here, but that is a very short 2, and it looks like back in the game is Niger Smith, and they're going to go for it. So a very interesting offensive formation on this second drive. All the plays have been a tight, direct snap, and it's going to be a run to the left, and he will not get there, as Niger Smith is stuffed, and Spring Mills is going to take over about where they gave the ball back, right about in between the 25 and 30-yard line. So nothing going there. A good stop by Spring Mills.
Great stop by Spring Mills, and a mistake by Niger. Niger tried to get to the edge and ran into a puddle, lost his footing, and couldn't get back to the middle.
And that is the one thing with the formation they're in, where there's 10 guys tight and then the guy running the ball. You really have to be sure you have the angle if you're going to go to the outside, because it's going to be one on many if you try to break it outside.
Okay, here they come, partner.
1st and 10 now at the 30-yard line.
4 receivers.
Spring Mills deep in Hedgesville territory. 2 receivers to each side. Padmore Johnson in the shotgun formation. Padmore Johnson drops back. Quick slant across the middle. That is caught. Number 4, Christian Henderson, up, and that's looks like a first down. If it's not, it's awful close for the Spring Mills Cardinals. And there goes the chains there. A good quick throw by Padmore Johnson to Henderson, and that's a new set of downs, as Spring Mills is now inside the red zone at the 15-yard line. 1st and 10 coming up.
Saving tackle by senior Harmerson, playing defensive back.
Padmore Johnson to give off the outside, cuts at the middle, and that is going to be inside the 5, inside the goal line. Is he in? He is in. That is a touchdown run. Caleb Tenney into the end zone for the Spring Mills Cardinals, and a couple of missed tackles. I'm thinking the conditions a little bit had to do with that, but again, some tackles that should have been made for Hedgesville. But Spring Mills gets into the end zone, 6-0 Cardinals.
Just an off-tackle play, and they found a stepping hole, not a big hole, but was able to get 1 foot through it and then squared all the way up to the end zone.
And we're actually going to bring that back. Did not see a penalty flag there. They're going to get called for a holding on that play, so take away the touchdown run for Caleb Tenney and make it 1st and 15 at the 20-yard line now for the Spring Mills Cardinals.
Where there's not too many places a flag can go down and not get muddied up. I didn't see it either, partner.
So Spring Mills lining up on right about the middle of the field, going from our left to right at the 20-yard line. Padmore Johnson drops back to pass. A little bit of a read option with Tenney, and that goes nowhere as Padmore Johnson kept it there. Couldn't go anywhere. Again, those big men in the trenches for Hedgesville right there.
And again, Johnson's not very big at all. He goes about 140 pounds, and he's running into a pretty good-sized line over there for Hedgesville.
And I think we may have a penalty flag on the field again.
Oh.
And it's going to be a personal foul on the Hedgesville Eagles. So that ball going to get moved up a little bit. See if we can get a number.
Probably half the distance.
So an automatic first down, and this is something that in the first game we called here and what Matt Miller and myself saw at Preston when we went and covered Hedgesville down there, a lot of penalties for the Eagles. I'm not saying this is going to continue, but just something to keep an eye out on are these penalties.
Absolutely, buddy.
So that's going to bring up, I don't think it's going to be an automatic first down. I think it was a spot penalty after the play, so it's going to be a 2nd down and 5, a 10-yard penalty.
Ball right on the 10-yard line. Left hash.
So 2nd and 5. 1 receiver to the far side, 3 to the near side. Padmore Johnson in the shotgun formation. He will take it right up the middle.
Oh.
He's got a blocker in Tenney. He is into the end zone. That's a touchdown, Spring Mills. And I don't see any flags on this one. Looks like this one will stand. And a good job by Caleb Tenney setting the block right there.
Oh, my gosh. Hole opened up quick just as he got there. That was a well-designed play and very, very well executed.
Caleb Tenney, the lead blocker there, the running back, only going 5'9", 150. Good block right there for the running back. Spring Mills on to kick the extra point. There's the snap, the hold. It is up, and it is good. 7-0 your score now.
We all know what a good time looks like. But what is it made of? We can think of a few things. In this case, it's handcrafted food to gather around, an ever-changing variety of wine, and a Friday night. Do yourself a favor. Experience the good in a good time.
And we welcome you back into a soggy Moomaw Stadium as it is a little bit of an onside kick for the Spring Mills Cardinals. Nobody getting it immediately, but it looks like number 11,
yes,
Devin Heath, getting it for the Hedgesville Eagles. But those front blockers wanted no business of that ball.
No way at all. And I'll tell you, Heath did the right thing, too. He not only got to the ball, but covered it up, showing his back to the oncoming Spring Mills Cardinals.
All right, it's time to take a look at that drive summary brought to you by District Delegate Jason Barrett. That was a 4-play, 29-yard drive. 35 seconds, 7-0 your score here. Spring Mills in the lead as they will come back on the field for their third defensive drive, but really only second along when the Hedgesville offense coming back onto the field. Owie Ash in at quarterback still, stacks receivers to each side. Keenan Smoot to his left in the shotgun formation. Ash drops back to pass. He gives it the middle to Keenan Smoot. Has a nice little spin move. He gets a couple yards on that play, but not a whole lot. Still going to bring up 2nd and long.
Well, the big guys established themselves pretty well in that. There was movement along the line as Spring Mills got bumped off, but at the same time, there was nowhere to go. The field is as bad as an extra defensive player because you go to make a cut and you have no traction.
That'll bring up now a 2nd and 10 as they're not going to give him any forward progress there. Thought he might get a yard or two. 3 receivers to the far side, 1 to the near side. Smoot gets the handoff again in the shotgun. He's fighting forward, and that time will get a few yards. Probably split the difference there. Going to bring up about a 3rd and 5. Good hard run by Keenan Smoot.
Not only a good hard run, but a very educated run. He just went out there, put his foot down flat 2 or 3 times, and then planted it flat, cut back to his left.
So bring up a 3rd and 5. For the Hedgesville Eagles. They're right about at that 50-yard line, still in their own territory at the 47-yard line. So a 3rd and 5 coming up. Looks like 2 receivers on the near side, 1 to the far side, and a blocking back. That is Devin Heath off to the left. Owe Ash in the shotgun formation as that play clock is under 5 at 3-2. Owe Ash does get the snap off. The give is to Keenan Smoot. He's up the middle. He's got the first down and across midfield. He gets inside the Spring Mills 45-yard line down to about the 43.
And you're going to hear quite a bit of this, but the line differential in terms of size favors Hedgesville. At that time, there was a huge hole blown in there, and the secondary had to come up and make help.
So a fresh set of downs now. The 41-yard line gave him a little bit more on that carry than I was expecting. 3 receivers, or I should say 2 receivers still to the near side. Devin Heath still has that blocking back, offset to the near side, and a far receiver. That is Hunter Coe. Keenan Smoot still in the backfield, along with Owe Ash in the shotgun formation. Again, fumble on the play. There was a fumble on the transfer. I'm not sure Keenan Smoot realized that was a run play. He ran right past the outstretched arms of Owe Ash there.
That's the way I'd call it, because as he went ahead to put the ball in there, he didn't get it in the pocket where he should have.
So that'll bring up a 2nd and long now, 2nd and 14 from about the Spring Mills 45-yard line. Again, I'm thinking you now put Heath in that more of a slot formation, but still a little bit of running, or a blocking wide receiver as the gives to Keenan Smoot up the middle again. He's going to try to fight for a couple yards, and that is about all that he gets is a couple yards.
He gets a bubble on that left side. The line gets out pretty well, and he gets in behind the big uglies and is able to move the ball up pretty well.
So a 3rd and long now upcoming for Hedgesville at the 42-yard line in Spring Mills territory. 3rd and 10, 6:03 left here in this first quarter of action. 2 receivers to the far side. Devin Heath moves over as that blocking back on the far side. 1 receiver here to the near side. That is Niger Smith. Owe Ash takes a shotgun snap. He rolls to the right. He's trying to find room. There isn't any. He bounces it to the outside. That ball is free and picked up by Spring Mills. It'll be a Spring Mill Cardinal football, and a flag comes in at the end. I'm guessing some unnecessary roughness there, but it'll be a Spring Mill Cardinal football.
It almost looked like the Spring Mills trailing person, the guy that was behind him, swung at him to tackle and popped the ball out of his grip. You got to realize that when the ball gets wet like this, it almost gets soapy.